News. The time is 5 o'clock. Here is the world news at 5. First, the top stories. FRSC arrest 44 commercial vehicle drivers in Ogun over speed limit device. Jonathan calls for a punishment of impunity to end religious ethnic crisis. Acting Nigeria's Chief Justice asks Nigerians to stop pressurizing Buhari. NLC insists on warning strike. In foreign, US threatens maximum response to any nuclear attack by North Korea, and Austria to ban full-face veil in public places. I am Simiat Abaru, bringing you the news in detail shortly. Now the news in detail. Federal Road Safety Corps (FRSC) has arrested 44 commercial vehicle drivers in Ogun State on the first day of the enforcement of the speed limit device in commercial vehicles. The state sector commander of the agency, Clement Oladile, who made this known in Abeokuta, says that 82 commercial vehicles which failed to install the device were booked by FRSC officers deployed to highways for the operation. The drivers of 44 of the booked commercial vehicles, according to the commander, were arraigned before FRSC mobile court, and most of them fined 3,000 naira each. The FRSC commander adds that 36 of the booked drivers were cautioned. The enforcement of the installation of the speed limiter in commercial vehicles to reduce auto crashes began on Wednesday nationwide after several months of notification. Ogun State government is owing judges, magistrates and state councils in the state of 18 months allowances. The unpaid allowances include robe allowances and journal allowances. Chairman of the Shagamu chapter of the Nigerian Bar Association, Mr. Debo Odugunwa, made this known at the presentation of the state's newly appointed High Court judges to the bar, bench and public in Abeokuta. Odunguwa says the state has judges, magistrates and state councils who are resourceful with deep knowledge of the law but worry that the allowances are not paid. Also, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Babatunde Fashanu, also accused the state government of failing to fulfill some of the promises it made to the state judiciary, including the construction of a judicial complex. Nurses and midwives in the federal hospitals in Ogun State have called on the presidency to remove the health sector from operating the Treasury Single Account (TSA). The policy introduced by Buhari administration is to block financial leakages. The chairman of the National Association of Nurses and the Midwives (NANNM) Federal Medical Center Abeokuta chapter, Mrs. Abosede Fagboyinbo, who made the call during a rally in Abeokuta, says that TSA is affecting the smooth running of tertiary health institutions. Although nurses and midwives are fully in support of Buhari's effort to block financial leakages and prevent mismanagement of government revenue, she demands a need for a special consideration for the health sector in the country. Meanwhile, the Joint Health Sector Union (JOHESU) chairman, Mr. Samuel Idowu, and the NANNM chairman of the Neuropsychiatric Hospital Aru Abeokuta have condemned the medical tourism embarked on by the political office holders. They listed some of the challenges facing them as including stagnation of health workers' promotion, non-payment of teaching and promotion allowances, deteriorating state of infrastructures, among others. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has recommended the implementation of the report of the 2014 National Conference midwifed by his administration to end the growing cases of ethnic and religious crisis in the country. Jonathan says the report will be particularly useful in the southern Kaduna, where scores of people have been killed in the past weeks. The former president, speaking before the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Africa, noted that the conference recommended the setting up of Religious Equity Commission, which will be empowered to address those behind religious crisis in the country. To Jonathan, both ethnic and religious crises continue to rise in Nigeria because those spearheading it are not punished. If those behind the past religious and ethnic violence are prosecuted, the former president says it will discourage further acts of impunity. Lagos state government is to construct perimeter fence around public schools in the state as part of measures to secure schools from kidnappers. The project was announced less than 24 hours after Governor Akinwumi Ambode signed a bill prescribing death penalty or life jail for convicted kidnappers in the state. The governor announcing the project at the foundation laying ceremony of a model school at the Abaru College, Ojo, says that contract has been awarded by the state government for the perimeter fencing. The state government, Ambode, as is putting in place more measures to secure students and staff in schools. Acting Chief Justice of Nigeria (CJN) Justice Walter Onnoghen has pleaded with Nigerians not to pressurize President Muhammadu Buhari into appointing him as a substantive CJN. Afenifere had issued a deadline to Buhari to confirm Onnoghen as substantive CJN. Also, several people, including lawyers, activists, and the South Caucus in the National Assembly, have called for the confirmation of the acting CJN as the new Chief Justice of Nigeria. But Justice Onnoghen, whose appointment as acting CJN ends on February 10, says the president does not need any threat or an ultimatum to name the new CJN, distancing himself from individuals and groups doing so. The acting CJN, in a statement by his media aide Awasin Bassey, urges Nigerians to give Buhari a free hand to perform his constitutional duties concerning the appointment of a substantive CJN. Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) has rejected the position of the presidency on warning strike by workers. Labour and Employment Minister Chris Ngige had told the organised labour that warning strikes are illegal and that government will treat them as full strikes. But the Congress says unions will continue to adopt warning strikes to compel employers to listen to them. The union, in a statement by its General Secretary of the Congress, Dr. Peter Uzoeson, admits that warning strike is not part of the labor relations law, but believes it has been effective. According to the Congress, warning strike is being used by labor unions in Nigeria as a bargaining tool to compel employers to initiate negotiations to preempt a full strike. You are still listening to the World News at 5 from Rock City 101.9 FM. Up next, we'll bring you foreign, business, and sport news. Please do stay with us. In foreign, the US has said any use of nuclear weapons by North Korea would be met with an effective and overwhelming response. Defense Secretary James Mattis also confirmed plans to deploy a US missile defense system in South Korea later this year. Speaking after talks at the Defense Ministry with his South Korean counterpart, Han Min-koo, in Seoul, Mr. Mattis told reporters that any attack on the United States or their allies will be defeated. North Korea conducted its fifth test of a nuclear device last year and claims it is capable of carrying out a nuclear attack on the US, though experts are still unconvinced its technology has progressed that far. It has also said in recent weeks that it has a new intercontinental ballistic missile capable of reaching the US mainland, which it is prepared to test launch at any time. The US has a considerable military presence in South Korea and Japan. As part of post-war defense deal, there are just under 28,500 US troops in the country, for which Seoul pays about $900 million annually. Trump's administration has cautioned against building new Israeli settlements, warning it may not be helpful to achieving peace with Palestinians. The statement contrasted with earlier signals from President Trump that he did not object to settlement activity, but it said it did not see settlement as an impediment to peace, a departure from previous US positions. Israel's pro-settlement government, which had sharp differences with the Obama administration on the issue, has felt emboldened since Donald Trump took office last month. In recent days, Israel has announced plans to build the thousands of new settlement homes in one of the biggest surges for years. More than 600,000 Jews live in about 140 settlements built since Israel's 1967 occupation of the West Bank and East Jerusalem. Austria's ruling coalition has agreed to prohibit full-face veils in public spaces such as courts and schools. It is also considering a more general ban on state employees wearing the headscarf and other religious symbols. The measures are seen as an attempt to counter the rise of the far-right Freedom Party, whose candidate narrowly lost last month's presidential vote. France and Belgium introduced a burqa ban in 2011, and a similar measure is currently going through the Dutch parliament. Chancellor Angela Merkel said last month that the full-face veil should be prohibited in Germany wherever it is legally possible. The UK does not ban the niqab or burqa. In business, Nigeria is consuming 1.6 million metric tons of sugar yearly, Industry, Trade and Investment Minister Ikechukwu Enalema, who made this known in Abuja, says about half of the consumed sugar are imported into the country. The minister explains that the National Sugar Master Plan intends to increase the production of the commodity locally over the next few years. According to him, under the plan, about 200,000 metric tons of sugar will be produced locally over the next 10 years until the country becomes self-sufficient in the commodity. Finally, sport news. Nigeria's representative in this year's CAF Champions League, Rangers FC of Enugu, has been sanctioned by the Disciplinary Committee of Nigerian National Football Federation (NFF) following the fracas that occurred during their match day one with visiting Abia Warriors FC. The Flying Antelopes was handed a total fine of 3.75 million naira by the committee as punishment. The fine includes 750,000 naira for its failure to ensure restriction of access by unauthorized persons from all restricted areas during the match, and 1 million naira for encroachment and throwing of objects towards the field of play at the end of the match by the fans and its supporters. The club will also pay 500,000 naira for attempted assault and hurling of missiles at the match officials, and another 500,000 naira being compensation of 250,000 naira each to the two injured officials. The NFF Disciplinary Committee also slammed 1 million naira fine on Rangers FC, being caused for the committee sitting in line with Rule E1. That was the world news at 5, and just before we go, the major stories once again. FRSC arrested 44 commercial vehicle drivers in Ogun over speed limit device. Jonathan called for punishment of impunity to end religious ethnic crisis. Acting Nigeria's Chief Justice asked Nigerians to stop pressurizing Buhari. NLC insisted on a warning strike. On the foreign scene, we reported that US threatened maximum response to any nuclear attack by North Korea, and Austria to ban full-face veil in public places. For more stories and to listen to us live, please log on to our website www.rockcityfmradio.com/live. Thank you for listening. I am Simiat Abaru. Good evening.